फॉर एनफोर्समेंट फंडामेंटल राइट्स, मौलिक अधिकार को एनफोर्समेंट करने के लिए एग्रीड इंडिविजुअल्स राइट्स अपॉन एग्रीड इंडिविजुअल्स। The sanctity of the fundamental rights has been enhanced by the Article 32 by making the rights justiciable. Justiciable means it can go to court. It enhances the significance of fundamental rights in Indian polity. Under what circumstances Parliament may legislate on state subject? Parliament India has adopted the Canadian model federation to make the union strong in relation to the state. India has adopted the Canadian model. Union strong in relation. Parliament may legislate on state subject. State. Following the federal concept of the distributing powers between the two sets of government. Schedule VIA specifies list. Schedule 7. There are 3 lists. The subject which may be registered by the union. Subject which may be registered by union, state and both respectively. However, at the same time, certain provision of the Constitution specify that Parliament can legislate corporately on the subject content in the state list. Parliament can legislate corporately list not only during emergency but also in normal time also. The Parliament may legislate on the state list under the following circumstances. Under Article 249, the Parliament can legislate corporately on the state subject on the national interest corporately. Under the Article 252, it can legislate two or more states. Resolve a state subject to be legislated by the Parliament. Resolve state subject. 252, 249, national interest. Under Article 253, the Parliament can legislate even on subject content in the state list. Parliament legislate state list on concurrent list to implement any international treaty. To implement any international treaty के लिए implement करने के लिए during emergency Article 352 emergency time Article 352 में लिखा. Under Article 250, the Parliament legislated on state legislature during national emergency. Under Article 250, Parliament legislated on state legislature during the national emergency. Under Article 356, the Parliament legislated on state subject during the operation of state emergency. These powers of Parliament suggest India to be regarded more a quasi-federal than purely federal setup. No, quasi-federal, not purely federal. Because the Parliament is dominant upon state subject. President of India elected. Kipari President of India elected by indirect election in accordance with the system. Of a proportional representations by means of single transferable vote. President of India is elected by the indirect elections. System of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. This electoral college consists of elected members of the both Houses of Parliament and elected members of the Legislative Assembly of the state and the elected members of the Legislative Assemblies of the Union Territories of Delhi and Pondicherry. Indirect election in accordance with the system of proportional representations by means of single transfer vote. President elected by the proportional representation by means of single transfer vote. But the exception when the President of India is not bound by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. The exception when President of India is not bound by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. India being a parliamentary democracy, Prime Minister along with the Council of Ministers is the real executive. Parliamentary democracy, India being a parliamentary democracy. Prime Minister along with his Council of Ministers is the real executive. Sometimes India, virtue of the republic, also provides for an elected president. That is nominal executive. Moreover, this position has been made all the more prominent by the changes made by the 42nd and 44th Amendment. Actually, India. For the exception, where President of India is not governed by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. India being a parliamentary democracy, Prime Minister along with the Council of Ministers, the real executive. At the same time, India by virtue of a republic also provides for an elected president through a nominal executive. Moreover, this position has been made more prominent by the changes made by 42nd 44th Amendment to the Constitution. The amendment made it compulsory for the President, abide by the advice of the Council of Ministers. For 42nd Amendment to the Constitution made it compulsory for the President to abide by the advice of the Council of Ministers in the discharge of his functions. However, there are exceptions where he may use his powers independent of the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers, Parliament, real executive, living Parliament democracy. Sometimes India, virtue of republic, also provides for an elected president through a nominal executive. That the nominal executive position has been made all the more prominent by the changes made by the 42nd 44th Amendment to the Constitution. Amendment made it compulsory for the President to abide Council of Ministers. To save countries, students should contest elections. Parliament should fill up farmers' representatives, students' representatives. Not only paper APSC is not solve the problems of the countries and the job problem. To contest election in every country. Subject resolution. It ends the existing life of the House. Ends. Prorogation of the House. Prorogation means President of India prorogues the House, which result in not only terminating the sitting but also accession of the House. President of India prorogues the House, which result in not only terminating a sitting but also session of the House. Session of the House, prorogation of the House. Sitting House, but also session. Resolution means it ends the existing life of the House. Session of the House, prorogation. Adjournment of the House, business of the House. Terminating a sitting of the House and is done by the presiding officers of the House. Adjournment करे presiding. Prorogation resolutions. A presiding officer of the House. Bills and other business pending before the House are not affected by the adjournment. Bills and other business pending before the House are not affected by the adjournment. Adjournment से कुछ affect नहीं होगा. To what extent can the President withhold his assent to a bill already passed by the Parliament? President withhold his assent to a bill. To veto power enjoyed by the President of India, the veto power enjoyed by the President of India is a combination of absolute veto power enjoyed by the President, absolute suspensive and pocket veto. Absolute veto, suspensive veto. He can withhold his assent to a bill passed by the parliament, he can withhold his assent only in the exercise absolute veto of his absolute veto, only in the exercise of absolute veto, withhold his assent veto over the bills passed by the private members of the union legislature. He exercises absolute veto also over state legislature over the bill passed by the private members of the union legislature, and he exercises absolute veto also over state legislature, because without his consent a private bill by private members put the bill before the house, bring out the issue involved in the implementing compulsory primary education. Bring out issue involved in the implementing compulsory primary education in India. Even the constitution makes provision for compulsory primary education. Even the constitutions make provision for compulsory primary education to all children between the age group of 6 to 14 years. Constitution makes provision for compulsory primary education to all children between the age group of 6 to 14. Human rights enshrined in the Constitution of India under Article 21A enshrined can be predicted it in near future, and no success can be predicted. There is higher dropout ratio, but no success can be predicted. There is provision for the compulsory primary education to all children. Children are not aware of education benefits, and so the case with the parents. So they are not willing for education. Poverty and compulsion of work makes it impossible for some children to have education. Even proper facility of schools, buildings, teachers and funds are not available in our countries. Proper facility of schools, buildings, teachers and funds are not available. Psychologically trained teachers to encourage children for education are not available. Psychologically trained teachers to encourage children for education are not available. Jadio many policies and schemes are there for compulsory primary education, proper implementation and machinery and willingness on the part of a bureaucracy is not available. Proton speaker house meeting of the new elected actually before newly elected Lok Sabha, the speaker of the last Lok Sabha resigns. The newly elected Lok Sabha. Before the first meeting of the newly elected Lok Sabha, the speaker of the last Lok Sabha resigns. The president therefore appoints a member of the Lok Sabha. The president therefore appoints the member of Lok Sabha. Appoint member of the Lok Sabha as the speaker of the pro tem. The president administers oath of the speaker pro tem to the seniormost member. The speaker pro tem exercises all the powers of the speakers. He presided over the first sitting of the newly elected Lok Sabha. First sitting. He mainly administers oath to the new members. And enables the election of the new speakers. After the election of the new speaker, the speaker pro tem ceases to exist because it is a temporary office. temporary office.